the daily life of a middle-aged online shopper in another world. Now, this is a very annoying anime for me. Now, those are my personal opinions, but right out the bat, it annoyed me. I understand wanting to get to the good stuff in a story, or getting right where it get interesting, but you have to. If you watch a Fureta, where they just do a 5 to 10 second slideshow to forget what happened in the real world. Let's just cut right up to the fantasy isekai world, and it was very annoying. Now, from the scissor reel that happened, the slideshow, what I understood was he was overworked, passed out, and died. At least that's what I understood from that quick pace scissor reel that happened right there. Now, uh, moving on from that small annoyance, and there's more annoying stuff coming along the way. Now, our main character woke up in a fantasy world. Now, he didn't got super OP magical skills or anything like that, where he do fireballs and explosions and stuff. No, what he got was a online shopping system code named Shangri-La. It works like online shopping, but it's not free. So the way it works is that he takes stuff from the fantasy world, put it in the online shop, sells it, and with currency exchange, it goes from we have the typical Japanese yen, where he can buy stuff from there and bring it over to the fantasy world. Now, for some reason, it's restricted to the Japanese stores or the Japanese merchandise, because he did try to buy a sword, a katana, a big sword, but because of Japanese regulations and stuff, he couldn't buy one. So there's not going to be any guns or weaponry. So let's just move on. Now, he with the he wants now that he's in a fantasy world, he wants to do his big dream of having a slow, tranquil life on the countryside. But in order to do that, he needs a little bit of money. So he goes into the finds himself to the nearest town, and he starts to become a merchant. And by taking stuff from his world to the fantasy world, was making a killing of a lot of moolah. And he started small. He we surprisingly, the pins to hang clothes was very popular, and also brooches with intricate designs. He made a killing, and he made a merchant friend who along the way. Now, because of his sales and the peculiar items that he had on stock, he did caught the attention of a merchant's big store, and they approached him. They wanted to do business with him, and honestly, they were in good faith. They weren't trying to scam him or underbill him or anything like that. They were very, they operate by fair competition and fair prices. They don't try to scam or inflate prices just because they have a monopoly. No, that store, merchant store, is quite trustworthy. Let's put it that way. Now, because And yes, the main character Kenichi, he does make friends along the way. He get a little bit of trouble with. Uh, he does help a fellow merchant dealing with a couple of bandits and summoning a excavator to deal with them because he can attack and technically because he's inside the glass protect himself at the same time. And I'm going to say this: the I'm surprised that with the all of the machinery that he brought over to the fantasy world, there was no CGI because with the mechanical with the mechanical parts a little bit more intricate. So kudos that they maintain everything 2D. Now, because of all of the merchant being a merchant with his peculiar items that he's selling and getting a little bit of a name for himself dealing with those bandits, he decided, well, let me leave. I'm going to pack up in the middle of the night and just go away. And I this is another thing that really annoyed me from the main character because he just left and he didn't told anybody. He just went away, and it's very annoying because let me touch upon a little bit of different characters. We have the innkeeper that it was practically look our main character Kenichi. He's he's a man whore. I'm gonna that's the best way I can put it. He sleeps all around constantly with different women. The first one, what like I said, was the innkeeper. He gave her some candy, drew some portraits of her because he likes drawing, and the girl was just smitten by him, and she just slept with him, and that's fine and all, but after a couple of days she wanted a proper relationship and not only be sexual, and he always dodges the question or the topic and just continue throughout his day. Now, obviously, like I said before, he packed up and vanished from her point of view. He just left without carrying his word. He said, "Oh, he just wanted a piece of the action, and now that he got it, he just left." And I did felt a little bit bad for her. Now, was she the only one? No. We have other characters. We have the Beastman tribe, and I'm going to say this: the Beastman, the guys, from head to toe covering four, but for some reason the woman from the beast tribe, yes, they're from the neck down, they're covered in four, and it is shown fully. I'm not going to go into details, but yes, from neck down, covering four, but for some reason only the face is doesn't have fur. It is smooth skin, and I I didn't like it. I didn't like that design. Yes, it's a different kind of design from other animes or mangas that do have base persons in their stories, and I do know the temptation of let me do something different to stand out of the crowd, but I just didn't like it. In all by the end of the 13th episode that I got used to it. Yes, I got used to it, but that just because I just got used to it doesn't mean that I like it. Now, and yes, the like I said, the merchant family from the store that was doing business with him, yes, they could continue selling and raking in the profits and such, but having a business partner just going away, yes, that's alarming. And the reason because look, I understand the main character got in trouble with a couple of nobles, and he just want a slow, peaceful life, so he just goes away in the middle of the night without telling anybody. But I just didn't like it. It was very selfish of him. It remind me the best way I can explain how I feel from what I feel is if you ever watch One Piece, you already know that one of the pillar characters, Usopp, the Sniper King. Well, Usopp father Yosop. Well, you know the story. He wanted to be go to a venture, become a pirate, but he abandoned his wife and kid, all for the sake of his dream for the adventure. And that's the same feeling that give me the main character, Kenichi, from this anime. He wants a slow, peaceful life, so he, for his dream, he doesn't care. He have to abandon all of those friendship or connection that he made in that town. He just pack up and leave. Now, the reason because I don't like the character, but the reason because I don't hate him is because the supporting cast anchor him down. What I mean about that is because first the beast woman, who yes, she's also one of the person that slept with him. I did mention that before. Mentor. The beast woman tracked him down because of his nose. And later on, the daughter of the merchant that he was doing business with him, using her with connection with the information and such, with the Avengers Guild and so on, she was able to track him down. And she also have the sort of adopted daughter, Anemone, that she was the luckily he didn't abandon her because he decided to have her like adopted daughter. So yes, at least he took her along. But yes, it doesn't drop my frustration in the list about the selfishness that he did. Now, the rest of the story is mostly okay. Let me say this: he goes obviously he left the original town where he was, so he goes out to other towns, and he just walks right in, motorcycles, minivans, and nobody nobody looks his way. They everybody, when he arrives on town on a minivan or a motorcycle, they go, "Oh, who's that?" And they continue along their merry way. None of the townspeople are curious or frightful or anything about the technology. It's like they like an everyday thing. And it was just I know that each and every time that he arrives in a different town, having to explain, oh, I use a unique type of summoning magic, these are my iron beast. I know that it would be tiring doing that every single time, but at least you can do the minimum and make the townspeople look at him in a curious gaze or something. It was just the best way I can put it is emergence breaking. It was very weird. Now, the other thing is, like I said, yes, our main character, like I has said, he's a mentor, but our supporting cast is not are no saints saints are either. For instance, we have in one of the episodes he has to go to a small a piece of land because he has to help a duchess make a canal for transporting water, and he goes there to that little small area to help, and the duchess is there, and even though that he still hasn't done anything praiseworthy, or his name isn't well known throughout the kingdom, for some reason the duchess is just throwing herself at him, trying to get in bed with him and have nighttime fun, and all of that is was well and all, but then we go to the next episode and we find out that the woman is married. Yes, she's married, and it was very weird because she wasn't trying to do it in the down low discreet or anything. No, she was doing it in front of everybody, in front of the maids, in front of the commoners, in front of everybody. And I would understand the main character not being new to isekai, being new to this land, not knowing that she's married, but the supporting cast, the merchant girl, the commoners, the maids, nobody said, "Hey, you're married. Stop it." No, nobody. They just it's like her shitting on her husband. It's like, she's gonna do it, whatever. It was so weird, and not only that, it's not if it what if it was done this only time, it would be one thing. But no, it happened again. It happened now with the queen of the kingdom, this bitch right here. She was extra weird and annoying because our main character Kenichi does something for the kingdom, and something praiseworthy. So the queens decide to give him a reward. What does she give him? She gives him a key to her room and say, "Here's a key to my room. Why don't you give me a nighttime visit to have some fun?" Wink. And she does all of this in a room full of nobles, but even worse, the king is right there. She didn't even said it in a whispery fashion or anything. The king heard all of that, and she did it in front of everybody. Look, I understand because I have read a lot of manga with all the nobles, kings and queens and stuff, and I know political marriage, and not necessarily there's no love, but there's at least some level of respect. And yes, but the queen and king, or uh, duchess or duke or whatever, while they may not be in love with one another, at least they have the decency and respect for their partner to at least do it in the down low, at least to sneak in the lover, and make in the lover go super early in the morning at dawn, so to at least preserve the image of their happy marriage or something. But no, for some reason in this anime, they're they just don't believe in the sanctity of marriage. They just, hey, nobles, they're going to sleep with whoever they want to. I don't know. And look, not only the nobles and king and queen, or sorry, the queen, but even the main character Kenichi is not innocent in all of this either, because Kenichi, he marries a character, Yes, he officially gets married to one of the characters. Not going to say who, but he even asked the permission of his father, of her father, and everything for permission for marriage. And he sleeps, even though now he's officially married. He sleeps with another woman. The princess of the kingdom also decide, hey, you did something for me, let me do something for you. I'm going to offer you my maid, sleep with her. And uh, and he tried to resist, but oh my goodness, he's just so, no, in this anime, nobody, absolutely nobody respect the sanctity of marriage. And let me do one last topic. The adopted daughter, Anemone, she, even though that Kenichi only views her as a daughter figure, Anemone has romantic feelings for the main character. Now, does it go anywhere or anything? No, so don't worry about that. But for some reason, all of the supporting cast, the the merchant girl, the duchess, the queen, for some reason, even though that she's much younger and she is practically, well, she is a child, they don't see anything wrong with that. They, in fact, they encourage her. Oh, there's nothing wrong with when it comes to love, age doesn't matter. For some reason, all of these many of the supporting cast are trying to encourage or don't see anything wrong with the romance between those two. Well, not romance because he doesn't, but the romance between her towards Kenichi. And it would be one thing if they said, oh well, okay, there's nothing wrong with, there's it will be something if they said something like around the, oh, maybe in 7-10 years when you're older or something like that. But no, they're practically encouraging, oh, just accept her right here right now. It was very disturbing. I don't the everybody in the cast is morally bankrupt. Nobody believes in the sanctity of marriage. For some reason, they're encouraging the romance between a middle-aged man and a child. Seriously, what's wrong with the morals of many of these characters are just in in the gutter, the garbage. So look, I'm going to leave it here right now. This was a very annoying anime in many sort of ways. So I'm going to give it this a score, a 4, a 4 out of 10. Usually I would give something like this a 5 average, but because I especially didn't like the main character Kenichi at all, and the rest of the cast are not that good either. But the reason, because look, other people might is average to other people, but for me, the main character and the supporting, many of the supporting cast are just so loathsome. So look, this is my channel, so I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 10. I'm going to stop here. Have a good night. Sorry. Have a good day. Have a good night wherever you're from. And see you next video.